Hello and welcome back to the channel. Before we get into the video, I just want to go ahead and say this Routine is a fantastic horror game. It's super immersive, it's amazing, it's spooky, it's scary, and it's not too long, and it's just overall a fantastic experience. And I think you'd be doing yourself a disservice if you didn't try it at least once, or at least watch the playthrough of it. And the main reason I'm making this video is I feel like this game has been quietly slipping under the radar for a lot of people, which I think is surprising considering just how interesting this game's development cycle has been. This game has been developed for 13 years, since 2012, and with this review I hope to draw more attention to this game, even if it's just like a few people, and I just feel like this game deserves more attention than it's currently getting. So with that being said, if you like the video, subscribe, leave a like, and if you want to support me financially, gotta buy me a couple link down below. And with that, let's get into Routine. For this review, I want to be clear, I'll only be showing footage from the first two chapters of the game, so I don't want to spoil too much, because discovery plays a huge role in how this game works, particularly in how it builds tension and tells a story. So there'll be minor spoilers for chapters 1 and 2, but nothing too crazy, as that's pretty much like the tutorial and beginning sections of the game. So please keep that in mind going forward. If you absolutely want to play this game yourself, I highly recommend you play it yourself going completely blind. But other than that, if you want to stick around and hear my thoughts, please do so. I think the first thing I want to talk about is what you'll kind of be doing in the game. Gameplay wise, this game is very immersive, and I think that's clearly the priority that the devs wanted to do. I think the cat gun that you get in the game is a perfect example of this. It's not just a tool, but it's something else. It feels like it's actually present in the world, combined with the near total absence of UI, and just you're doing everything you're doing through your gun, instead of like hopping through menus, which is amazing. The game keeps you constantly grounded in the environment instead of pulling you out with like menus, markers, or intrusive UI elements. And that design choice is a lot of heavy lifting, and just overall the game trusts your intelligence as a player to figure stuff out, which is really great, because most horror games you do play, at least ones that I've played, right, will always have like someone constantly reminding you what to do. You have like a journal, you have like maybe like a quest marker or something, and just this game Routine is just makes this game atmosphere. Like I keep saying, it's very immersive. It's probably one of the most immersive horror games I've ever played, visually and tonally. The retro futuristic presentation, especially the grainy 1980s style video recordings that you find around the game, mainly bring to mind the Alien films, as well as the game Alien Isolation, which is one of my absolute favorite horror games, hands down. There's a strong bunch of analog technology and corporate sci-fi horror that feels intentional rather than nostalgic for its own sake, if that makes sense. The level design is mostly composed of smaller, interconnected spaces that make it difficult to get lost, in my opinion, but at the same time, figure out what you're supposed to do next can occasionally be unclear. And I think that's where most of the playtime you'll be having is just figuring out what to do next. The challenge isn't so much navigation as it is interpretation, understanding the game's logic and what it expects you to do to progress. Much of time will be spent solving puzzles while avoiding hostile robots. There's a lot of backtracking, careful movement, and some puzzles are surprisingly complex. One involves deciphering a cipher. Another one requires some basic understanding of chemistry concepts. These moments can feel very intense, especially when you're trying to think through a solution while knowing something dangerous could be nearby. And story-wise, I'll have to admit it, I don't think I fully understand everything yet. That said, I found the narrative quite intriguing, to be honest, enough to keep me generally excited to like find like all the little terminals and like diaries and stuff like that. And I can't wait to play through it again just so I can like maybe find more lore and more clues as to what's really going on in this space station. And that ambiguity feels intentional and invites interpretation rather than just spelling everything out for you. I feel like you'll probably get a different experience than me when you play through this story, just because of how like a lot of unanswered questions I had by the time I was done. And just overall the atmosphere in this game is where it truly shines. Minimal UI, fantastic sound design, constant visual tone. It creates an experience that feels deeply immersive from the start to the finish. Like, although there is one thing I noticed in the horror, like, is that like you're running from a monster, right? And it sees you crawl under a desk, because I feel like this for me, it'd be a lot scarier if they could grab you under objects. Like, say they see you run under a chair or a table or something. In the game, they just stop. They go, huh, where'd you go? And they just turn around and walk away. It'd be far more scary if they saw you go under something, they could just grab you and pull you out. But other than that, the horror is truly fantastic. The game is a slow burn, immersive experience that rewards patience, attention, and despite its long and troubled development, it ends up feeling remarkably focused and confident on what it wants to be, and I think that's really cool. In terms of length, the game comes around about 6 to 7 hours, which might sound very short on paper, but for a horror game, I think that's actually perfect length for this kind of experience, because horror games, in my opinion, shouldn't be like overly long, because you can only stay scared and only like be nervous or whatever for a certain amount of time before it starts to get boring or repetitive, right? And so this game has like the perfect length for it. I'm sure if you knew exactly what you were doing, it'd be a lot shorter. But I do think this is a horror game that you might want to replay to get like the whole story, because you might miss terminals, you might miss notes around the environments that could really like add more to like what's going through your head about like what's going on here. And I have an idea of what's going on, but I don't want to say it in case I spoil something. But I will definitely be replaying this game soon when I get a chance. And the performance of this game is also something that I think is really incredible. The game is on Unreal Engine 5, and probably because each level is so small, the game just runs incredibly well and looks great while running well too. And it's just the level of polish here is just incredible. And lastly, I want to briefly talk about the 13-year development cycle that this game has been in. This game was first announced in 2012 and was finally released in December of 2025. And according to my research, it involved major engine changes. Like, they kept like changing the engine every time a new version came out, from Unreal Engine 3, 4, and 5. Multiple project restarts, making this prolonged wait a significant part of the story, which I feel like I wouldn't be fair if I didn't mention it at least a little bit. And despite so many long delays, right, and its near abandonment, its recent launch, I think, was amazing, right? It's just that with the wait for this game being so long, I'm sure people have forgotten about the game. And personally, I found this finished product worth the wait, because it's just so immersive. And if I haven't convinced you already that this game is amazing, then it's probably not a game for you. And that's okay. Games aren't made for everyone. But if you did enjoy the video, and watch this far, it means the world to me. But please, please, please give this game a try. I hope you do like it if you do play it. With that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.